Welcome to What's a Beautiful Life Anyway? I'm your host, Jill Bennett. This is the channel that shares ideas to help you live your best life, because life can be beautiful if you live consciously. Welcome to this episode of What's a Beautiful Life Anyway? To live your best and most beautiful life, you want to have the best physical and mental health possible. And much of that, of course, is down to us. My guest today is Tricia Woolfrey. Hi, Tricia.
Hi there, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good. It's great to have you here today. Now, Tricia has many, many letters after her name, and she is also the developer of Your Empowered Self. Tricia has spent many years making sure her skills are leading edge and up to date so that she can give the very best help possible. When thinking about your empowered self, Tricia wanted to make sure that she invested heavily in her training so that you would benefit from her skills and discover or reconnect with your empowered self. Tricia's passion is helping people like you achieve positive change, whether in terms of improving your career, enjoying stronger relationships, better self-esteem, less stress, good health, or even weight loss. Tricia, in your corporate role, you were in HR, a bit like me. How did you manage to transition from this to running your own business?
It's a really interesting story because I never intended to run my own business and certainly not doing what I'm doing now. But what happened was that I went on some training for neurolinguistic programming that I was told would be really effective for business. And I went on the course, and part of that course, you got a couple of days, literally in a year, you've just got 2 days where you learn about hypnosis. And strangely, they give you a certificate to say you're a hypnotherapist after just 2 days, which I was very worried about, but because I thought it was a bit irresponsible. But I thought, oh my goodness, this is really good. This can really help people. I thought it's much less to do with business, but I just got the bug for hypnotherapy, and I became fully qualified, and I started I set up on my own and started to see clients personally, once I was properly qualified. And as you say, since then, I've I think I have an addiction. I'm going to be honest with you.
There could be worse addictions, Tricia.
But it's a problem and a non-problem, because it is a problem because I'm always doing some training, and it's some people say, when you're going to stop, and I'm not going to stop. I've just signed up for something else. What I do is I think, wow, that could really be useful. That would because I think of things as a whole, and how does that fit in, and what's missing here? So when I'm seeing a client, I'm looking for what is needed for this client. So over the years, I've kind of got something really holistic in the true sense of the word. And so that's how I transitioned. I got fed up with the corporate life because I'm just a really honest, straightforward person. And I think when you're in human resources, and I was very high up, so I worked with the board of directors, and you realize that your values have to go by the wayside, and it just didn't agree with me. My health, if I'm honest with you, affected my health. Certainly affected my ability to sleep at night. And I thought, I need to come out of this. It's just toxic. So that's how I did it. And that was, I'm not even going to tell you how many years ago, but it's could have developed
a while ago.
Yeah. But I haven't looked back. I absolutely love what I do. It's a bit scary working for yourself, but I just haven't looked back.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So you've now got lots and lots of different qualifications, and we might touch on a few of those if it comes up during this. But you are, of course, also a published author of how many books now?
It's 6 books, and I never thought I would even write one book, one line, one blog. No. And here I am, I've got 6 books. Wow. And they're all kind of meeting a need. And so they're all self-help, and they're all ways of meeting a need for somebody who maybe wants to do work in between our sessions, or who wants to do this on their own, who can't come and see me. So I've developed all of these, as I say, to meet whatever need the person might have. And I'm really proud of the books, and I'm actually incubating another one at the moment that is kind of half written, I would say, but I'm really taking my time with that because I've got so much on at the minute, so I'm not pushing myself at all.
And do you want to run through the titles? I know there's one on self-hypnosis, which we're going to talk about, or self-hypnosis we're going to talk about a little bit later.
Yeah.
What are the other titles?
So the first one was 21 Ways in 21 Days to the Life You Want. And it's got 21 chapters that addresses different elements of living a great life. And it's also a journal. And so at the back of it is a journal. It's got lots of inspirations, lots of tools, lots of ways of thinking about things. And it's got what I call a new belief generator. So many of us have negative beliefs that are standing in the way of our progression. And this is a really simple way of reprogramming those beliefs so that you can start to move forward. So that was my first book. And then my second book was because there was somebody who couldn't afford more than a few sessions with me. And I thought, oh my goodness, they just need so much more work. So I wrote a book.
As you do.
It's a very simple book, in fairness, but it's called Think Positive, Feel Good. And what I've got is a 10-step program to help really transform your thinking. So it's very much a workbook. There's a bit of information, but it's mostly a workbook to start to reprogram some of those negative thoughts. So the self-hypnosis, I did that with a friend. It's a very simple form of self-hypnosis. It's not as advanced as the one that I'm going to be teaching, but it's very simple. It's a lovely little book, and it's even got a recording there to accompany the work. So that's a nice book, and that's called An Inside Job, because really all change is an inside job. We kind of think, oh, if only the world was different, if only people were different, then my life would be so much better. But that's not empowered living. That's just kind of waiting for things to change outside you. So an inside job is looking at what's going on inside and really transforming some of that so you can start creating a future. I was asked to write a book about presentation skills. So that's called The Presenting Coach. I also wrote An A to Z of Business, which is a handbook for small businesses, because I was very lucky. My corporate world gave me a lot of business skills. I didn't really know that it was like a university for me. I learned so much about managing a business. And, although I'm a therapist, it is a business that I'm running as well. So, I'm very professional in my approach. And I realized that, some people who set up on their own, it's like a baptism of fire and quite frightening. So An A to Z of Business was really all the little elements that you need to help to be successful. I think I've done 5. What have I missed? Oh, I know, my favorite one. What am I thinking? It's my favorite one. How could I forget? This is my favorite. It's Ultimate Energy.
Yes, I've got that one.
Yeah, From Tired to Inspired. And that was what I've done there is looked at all the different factors that affect your energy, and it's arranged around the acronym ENERGIZE. So each chapter starts with a letter from that. So those are the books.
Amazing, amazing. So if anyone's listening, we'll post a link to where you can get hold of those books in the show notes.
Sure.
We've touched a little bit on some of the things that you can help with, but tell us a bit more about the sorts of challenges that people might have that you can help them with.
It's so broad, but just quickly, a lot of the work that I do is about stress management, because when you think about it, most problems are really, if you cut it down, it's to do with stress, okay, and how we respond to life's challenges. So lots of stress management. And of course, in COVID, that was just through the roof. So, that was a very busy time for me. So it was really nice to be able to be there for people. Self-esteem is another big one. Quite a few people with weight loss, and I've got a special holistic weight loss program, which is really, really practical, but also looking much deeper than anything that I've seen anybody else do. So I'm sure somebody's done it, but I've never seen it, and I study that a lot. I do quite a bit of work on anger management as well, and conflict management, those kinds of things. So it's really broad. And what I would, relationships, a lot of work on relationships, because that creates a lot of stress for people. Best way to look at it, anything that's made worse by stress, I can help make better.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. So you help people to deal with those challenges that they might have in their lives. Can you tell us a little bit more about your approach?
Yeah, so over the years, I've developed, special approaches that are unique to me. So when I was thinking about, what are, because trying to describe what I do is quite difficult. So I thought, what is it that I do when I see somebody? And it's like when I'm listening, I'm kind of filtering through certain lenses, if you like. So I've got the general filters are my 5 pillars. And the first one is psychological. What are the thinking patterns that somebody has, or personality profile that a person has, that are affecting them in this particular area that they're coming to see me about? And by the way, often the presenting problem is not the real problem. So I look at, it's just the presenting one. So what I do is I listen to what they're saying, but I look at what is really underneath all of this, because we have to deal with the underneath in order for the problem to go. So psychological is the first one. Then emotional. So most people are averse to feeling negative emotions. And what I need to do is look at what are the emotions that are going on here and how are they responding, because that is often part of the problem as well. People tend to either suppress or repress or they distract from them with things like eating or smoking or drinking, or too much time scrolling down their feed, or whatever. There's lots of ways of not really addressing the emotions, and so that means that the problem just persists because the emotions are there for a reason. Then I look at the biological. So that's things like nutrition. Is their body working optimally so that they're able to function at their best? Because if somebody is depressed, for example, that can be a nutritional, there can be a huge nutritional component to that. It could be something to do with hormones or something to do with neurotransmitters. So I'm looking at those kind of factors as well. Then I'm looking through the lens of lifestyle and life load. So this is kind of how they're living and how that contributes to the problem. And then the final pillar is spiritual, which can mean whatever you believe in life. But for me, what I'm thinking about is having a purpose and meaning. So, for example, a lot of people who are depressed, I've mentioned that twice now, so it's another thing I deal with. Some people are depressed because they have no purpose and meaning in life. So it's looking at that to help them feel much more focused on, the kind of life that they want to live, and whether they're living a purposeful life that is suitable for them. Yeah. So those are the pillars that I go through. Yeah. So
it's fascinating, isn't it? And it's so true that it's all so linked.
Yeah.
To how someone's feeling. I mean, I often talk about the gut-brain axis, because there's no doubt that depressed people, stressed people, so much is to do with their diet or their gut health or something else. So
absolutely
fascinating to have those 5 pillars. And most of your work is one-to-one, isn't it?
Yeah, probably about 80% is one-to-one. I've mentioned that, some people might buy my books, or I've got loads of MP3 hypnotherapy recordings. If they want to work on their own, those are available on my website. And I do trainings, which I'd stopped for a long time, but I've just started doing again now that COVID is well out of the way. And I'm doing a retreat as well, which I haven't done in a long time. And this is my own retreat, so it's super exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to be in October and in
Yeah.
Mallorca. So tell us more about the retreat.
Right. So it's going to be in a villa with a swimming pool. And it's going to be about learning self-hypnosis. And this is a particular form. So I've said I've written a book. That's a very simple form. It's easy to learn. This other one's easy to learn, but it goes much deeper. Because what it does is it gets you connected with your higher power, however you perceive that to be. So it could be your higher self, or if you believe in God or Buddha or Allah or anything like that, it could be that, or it could be your higher power might be grace or nature. Whatever you perceive your higher power to be, you connect with that. So you start to co-create, if you like, in partnership with that. So it's a mind, body, spirit approach. It's very structured, and we're going to be doing, there's lots of levels. So I've been doing it for many years, and I'm at the very, very, very highest level. But even if people only learn this level that I'll be teaching, they will find a difference in their life if they practice regularly. So it has components of mindfulness and components of visualization, but to a much, much higher level. And it helps deal with emotional baggage. And which nothing I know, the way you work on yourself enables you to do that. There might be something, but I haven't come across it. And it's very, very supportive, and it gives you a sense of inner peace, and helps you be more resilient. So it's a terrific system that, as I say, it takes meditation to a whole new level. And I'll also be doing talks about different things as well that are aligned with living your best life. So, it should be really, really powerful, but very nurturing, and people should come away feeling inspired, nurtured, and motivated for the next chapter of their life.
Fantastic. And spare time for them to,
yes,
generally enjoy the surroundings and
yeah,
have a rest and recuperate. So,
yeah,
so good for people in corporate world who need a break, mums who might be able to get away. Anybody really, people
yeah.
running their own business who might find that they've had a busy period and they're stressed. Fantastic.
Well, my inspiration has been that I actually go to quite a few retreats, or just go to places to be on my own. And it's my way of making sure that I'm giving back to me, because I can't do my job well if I'm running on empty. So I do that. And I was just thinking, would love to do a retreat of my own where I'm giving people the tools. So you come away with tools as well to really help you live life better and easier.
Yeah, we all need those, most definitely. So why a retreat?
Because most of us are giving out too much, and most of us are, not most of us, but many people are close to burnout or even breakdown. So obviously I'm seeing people that are, near the edge. And from my own perspective, when I work really hard, I know that if I don't take time out, I'm just not going to be giving anything like my best, either to my work or to my relationships. And life is just a lot duller. So at a retreat, you get to unwind, you get to offload, you get more perspective. It's, you reset, you renew, and you just feel like, oh, I've got me back again. And you just feel ready for life. And with this health hypnosis, it means that, whatever happens in life, and we all get curveballs, don't we? And we think everything's all right now, and then suddenly something else happens. And with these approaches, it just means you're able to respond to those challenges much more effectively than most of the time we just react, and it kind of really throws us and we're off kilter for far too long. Whereas with these skills, you're just more in charge of what's going on. You recover more quickly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolute sense. So if anyone's listening and they want to find out more about you or about the retreat, where can we send them?
So I've got a really comprehensive website. It's do we say www anymore? Anyway, that.
I never know, but
I don't know if we do. Anyway, and then yourempoweredself.co.uk. Yourempoweredself.co.uk. And it's got, or if you put Tricia Woolfrey, you probably will get, it will come up anyway.
Yeah.
And the retreat, there's my menu, there's one for retreat in there, and also products and so on.
Okay, well, I'll make sure we post lots of links to make it as easy as possible for people to find out more information. Do you want to just say the exact date that it's happening?
It's the 7th to the 13th of October.
Okay, perfect. And people would fly to Mallorca on a recommended flight, and then they can get transport from the airport to the villa. And and usually at that time of year, I know it's very warm and sunny and lovely in Mallorca. So we're looking forward to that.
Then, and there will be plenty of downtime for them to do, if they want to go to the beach in the afternoon, they can, or sit by the pool, or read a book in their room, or whatever they want to do. They've got loads of free time, because I think that's important too.
Yeah, no, that's very important, isn't it? You need to make the most of being away from home, and just fully recuperate from life generally. Now, Tricia, I know that you've also got a free personal insight so people can understand your 5 pillars approach and how it will affect, or how they're affected by the 5 pillars. It's called Unlock Your Future. How can people get hold of that?
So if you go to my website, on the top right hand side, it's got, I think maybe on the homepage, it might be right across the front, but it's very visible anyway. Unlock Your Future. Just put in your details, and it's a really neat questionnaire that takes you through. Obviously, it's a lot more simplistic than working with me, but it's really interesting to kind of reflect on the questions and see how you're doing across those 5 pillars.
Yeah, no, that's really, really great. We'll post a link to that as well, so that people can have a look at where they are within each of those 5 pillars. And we'll post up lots and lots of links. It just sounds like the perfect retreat for many people out there who they need those tools, don't they, to help them deal with life, because as we said at the start, so much of what happens in our life, most of what happens in our life, is up to us. We need the tools to be able to handle it and live our best life ever. So Tricia, thank you so much for joining me today.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for listening to this week's show. Check out all the links to the resources mentioned in today's episode and all my freebies in the show notes. See you next time.